hello again. Or if you're just joining me, hello. It's the 2nd of October, 2022 to me, Mark Edward Ochterman, and you get to look at an image and listen to some audio if all goes as I would like. And I'm looking at the Gospel of Luke, Kata Lukan, in the New Testament in the Bible. And I'm looking at chapter 4. The reason I'm doing that, not that it isn't, wholly worthy of looking at anyway, is that it's an assignment for a course that I'm taking. So the assignment is to define a pericope and to start to look at it and to raise some questions about it. So I've got some questions. Now, some of the questions that I have relate to translation and trying to get back to whatever it was that I'm going to say Luke, whoever wrote this book, committee, person, man, woman, space alien, I don't know. I'm speculating, probably man, probably just one, and we might as well call him Luke. Just seems easier. But I'll admit that some question could be raised about all of these. So maybe not the space alien thing so much, but why not? So New Revised Standard Version, in the pericope that I'm looking at, which is chapter 4, verse 14 through verse 30. That's how I decided to divide it up. And, oh, how surprising, that's how Bruce Metzger breaks it up too. Well, great minds think alike. Or maybe I was so influenced by, anyway. So actually Metzger breaks it up a little bit differently because he has the beginning of the Galilean ministry for 2 verses, and then the rejection of Jesus at Nazareth for however many 30 minus 16 is, because I'm good at some things, but math isn't one of them. So, yeah. Now, I grew up reading the Revised Standard Version. And in the Revised Standard Version of this passage of the rejection of Jesus at Nazareth, or the beginning of his Galilean ministry, anyway, Jesus is handed a book. In the Revised Standard Version, he's handed a book. It's the book of Isaiah, and he opens the book. In the New Revised Standard Version, we're told, and this makes perfect sense, okay? It does make sense. He's in a synagogue in Nazareth. It's the Sabbath. He stands up to read, and he's handed the scroll of the prophet Isaiah, the scroll, okay? He unrolls the scroll, finds the place where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me," and so on. All right. New Revised Standard Version says he's handed a scroll, he unrolls it. The Revised Standard Version says he's handed a book and he opens it. So, we can continue with this frustration, trying to figure out what on earth is going on, and we could read multiple translations, but I say, why do that if you have some facility in Greek? Why not just read it in Greek and find out what the Greek says? Now, we have to admit that there's a problem here, which is a potential problem, which is that there might be multiple manuscriptival traditions in Greek, so that there are, in fact, several different words that might be used in Greek. But what we see here is in the Greek New Testament. Okay, so this is Kurt Allen, Matthew Black, Carlo Martini, Bruce Metzger, and Alan Wickrens, or Wickgren. It's their edition of the Greek New Testament. And it's hard to assail their scholarship, let's put it that way. So, they provide us with no variation on this that I can see. We have okay. Antehemera ton sabaton, eis ten synagogein. Okay, so on the Sabbath day, he went to the synagogue. Kai aneste, and gosh, my Greek is terrible. I'm sorry. Anag. I know when you have a gamma and a nu together, it does something, but I don't know what it does. So, anagnanai is what I get out of it, but probably butchering it. Sorry. And, you know, he's getting ready to read. Kai epidothe auto biblion, to propheton Hisaiu. He's handed the biblion, the book of the prophet Isaiah. Kai anaptuxas to biblion. Okay, so what we want to do, if we're going to be jerks about it, is want to look up the word anaptuxas, also biblion. And what would be useful to know is whether biblion is a word that refers only to a codex, a bound volume such as this, or whether biblion can refer also to a scroll. It's my sense that biblion can mean either one, and so book is a fine translation because he's handed the book of Isaiah, meaning this unit of literary composition, okay, because that seems to be the basic meaning of biblion, rather than the form in which the biblion is presented. So this we would call a codex or a bound volume, but scroll, I have to admit I do not know what the Greek word is for that. So what I do when I'm stuck in those kinds of situations is there are a couple ways to handle this particular impasse. One is to find my handy dandy Young's Analytical Concordance of the Bible. And since this is geared to use it with I think it's, well, it's certainly within the tradition that includes the Revised Standard Version. But what I want to look up is book. So I look up book, and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of situations where the word book occurs. So let's look for Luke. Luke. There was delivered unto him the book, and that's what I'm curious about. Luke 4:17. And it says that it is, now this is young, like young and old, but young. Young's rendering of this is a little, in parentheses, little, a little book, roll, scroll, biblion. Okay. So it could mean a roll, it could mean a scroll. It doesn't probably doesn't mean codex. And the reason why I was kind of interested in this is that there are some passages in Luke that have characteristically not Levantine terms in them. And I'm thinking specifically of an incident where the story is told that they removed tesserae, or tiles, from the roof to lower a paralytic down so that Jesus can heal him. And the other synoptics say that they opened the roof, that they sort of like tore open the roof, but not that they removed roof tiles. They use different terminology. And so in these kinds of instances, it points to certainly a different social situation, one where there are roof tiles. And I'm not saying that there were in Greco-Roman times, in Syria, Palestine, no one ever tiled their roof, but it's much more typical to have a flat roof. And so if you did have a tiled roof, that would be kind of an adoption of a foreign building technique. And yet Luke uses that terminology with no explanation, no gloss, no, oh, well, they were in so-and-so's house and he had a fancy foreign style roof. There's none of that. So it does, this is why I was wondering when I see the word biblion, and it's one translator is putting it scroll and another one is saying book, what's being expressed here. So the next thing that I want to look up is to see whether the word scroll ever appears as such a thing in the Bible, which I think that it does, but let's find out. So scroll. And I do not know what the Greek word is for scroll, so this is very exciting. I'm going to learn a new word, potentially. All right, scroll. Scroll. Oh, darn it. Okay. I only say that. Well, in a moment, you'll hear why I say darn it. Okay. Scroll. In Hebrew, it's sefer. In Greek, it's biblion. So, yeah, doesn't really put Luke in any kind of strange situation. It's just a scroll. is biblion, and a book is biblion, and it leaves me wondering whether there is another word in Greek for scroll. And the way that I try to find those things out when Young doesn't help me, in a sense, one way to approach that would be to look at something like a lexicon. So I do not happen to have with me my Bauer, Arndt, Gingrich, and Fredrickson, I think, is the new guy on the team. But Bauer, Arndt, Gingrich lexicon. I don't know where it is. I've got a lot of things that are in boxes in a storage locker right now. So it doesn't make for a very exciting video, does it? No, not at all. Okay, so you may notice that some of the books have been used, and one might say abused. And here's one. Okay, so if I look at Biblion, oh, what is this book? Yes, you would like to know, wouldn't you? This is a very battered, short version of Liddell and Scott. Okay, so it's Liddell and Scott's Greek English. Bauer, Arndt, Gingrich, and whoever the fourth person is University of Chicago. This is University of Chicago Press. This is Oxford University Press. And I do have that wild heraldic feeling for the dark blue. So, let's see. Biblos. Okay. So, biblos is the inner bark of the papyrus, the paper made of this bark, hence a paper, a book. Okay, so biblos. Possibly a cognate to bast. At any rate, bast would seem to be a similar substance to biblos in the respect of the inner bark of the papyrus. So, biblion is a diminutive of biblos and means paper, a scroll, leading to such words as bibliopoles, a bookseller, or bibliotheca, or biblioteca, if you like to say it that way. A bookcase, a library, a bookcase. So a bibliotheca could be a bibliotheca. I have a bibliotheca. You see my bibliotheca? There it is. All right. Well, that is not really helping me to find out whether there is a definitive, like, special word for scroll, but a biblos, no, well, one iota, not two, and a biblion with two iotas. The biblos, or biblos, is the, so to speak, the main word, and the diminutive of it is biblios. So it doesn't really advance. Okay, so here's another one. Biblarion, also a diminutive of biblos, a little book or scroll. So also biblaridion. So biblarion or biblaridion. It seems like biblos is going to be pretty much it. So biblos apparently can go, or biblion can go either way. Nothing special about Luke's treatment. He's not trying to trick us here into thinking that codices were being used in the first century in synagogues instead of scrolls. It's kind of disappointing, but there you have, the trials of scholarship. So, yeah. Kai ptuxas to biblion apodus to uperito ekathisen. So what I didn't look up was the anaptuxas and the ptuxas. I'm guessing that one of them is to take it up and the other is to put it down. So let's just see. Let's start with ptuxas because it's the root, right? So and again, those of you who are knowledgeable about Greek are probably not watching this, but if you are, enjoy your laugh. Okay. I'm just very, very slow with this. Okay. Not really too many, like ptuo. There's not too many words in this. Okay, ptuso, to fold or double up, to fold and lay by. Tux, anything in folds, a fold, leaf, layer, plate. Ptuo, oh, to spit out, like I just said. Okay, well, that's not going to help us, because this is ptuxas. Ptux. Cowering animal. No, it's not that. No, that's ptox anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay, so with upsilon, ptux. How could it not be in? Okay, so it's something in folds. It's like he folds it. He folds it. So he folds it. Okay, so anaptuxos. Ana means again or like un. So he unfolds it. Anaptuxos to biblion. And then after reading the passage from Isaiah, he kai ptuxas. So he folds it or rolls it up again. All right, so mystery solved on that. Because it has to do with folding, okay, if one really wanted to be a jerk about it, you could say, well, he's folding it, so maybe it's not really a scroll. Maybe it is a codex. But he's in a synagogue. It's a scroll. So, yeah, okay. I'll grudgingly admit that my childhood experience of having him open a book and close a book, thinking that maybe Luke was using a word that meant a codex, is pretty much not standing up. And I'll accept the New Revised Standard Version's rendering of this as scroll, as biblion, as scroll. Okay, so, and since that was Bruce Metzger working on that, I guess. All right. Okay, I think I've played this one to exhaustion. and I'll see you in the next one.